Hey, this is Troy Taylor with the Championship Football Coaches Clinic podcast, sponsored by First Down Playbook, Rack Coach, Tip of the Spear, The Top Hopper, Recruit Compass, and Sports Workbook. Tonight, we have Richmond's own from Atlee High School. Glad I don't have to coach against this guy anymore. Alec Eberle. Alec, for those that don't know, because we're going to have some Florida State fans tuning in, some coaches from around the area. For the people that don't know you, but some people do. Tell us a little bit about yourself and where you're from, Alec.
Yeah, so growing up, I lived all over. Moved to Richmond on Mechanicsville in sixth grade. Ended up, luckily, joining football up down here with a bunch of good guys that ended up playing high school ball with me at Atlee High School for Coach Johnson and Coach McPhee, both pretty well known around the Richmond area for being successful at what they did. We were blessed to have a great season our senior year that allowed about 8 guys from my team to go on to the next level and play football at Division One, including my business partner for Hog Cuddy, Nick Clark. Nick played at Old Dominion, played center. I got blessed and got to have the opportunity to go play center at Florida State as well. At Florida State, it was a great time. I was there for the highs and I was there for the lows. I ended up being a 4-year starter over there, 2-time captain, ACC, all ACC, all that. But at the end of the day, right now, none of that really matters because with what I've got going on, I'm just here trying to help these kids in the 804 get noticed, get seen, and become the best O-lineman and football players they can be. Which is why I reached out and I want to be a part of this because I just want to help out as many guys across the area, just like yourself and all the other coaches in Richmond helped me out growing up. And that's something I was thinking about driving back to Philadelphia today. Is it's a community. And I remember in high school going to different camps around the area, whether it was at Highland Springs, whether it was at Manchester, Verona, it didn't matter. Every coach in the area cared about each player and helped them get to where they want to be. And that's just something that I think is extremely special about this whole Richmond community and the football community especially, is just being able to be bigger or be a part of something that's bigger than just us,
Yeah, man, it's been a blessing for me. I mean, I've been doing it since 2001, and I went to LC Bird, graduated in 1996, and Clinch Valley College, UVA wise, and got a chance to come back here and coach, and I've loved every minute of it. Talk a little bit about playing for Rick Trickett. We had Coach Trickett come on the podcast, and man, I never thought I'd ever have Coach Trickett on a podcast, but he's got the best offensive line book ever written.
When I saw on Twitter that you had Coach Trickett coming on, I was completely shocked. So me and Coach Trickett had a very funny relationship. He actually was my recruiter throughout the whole process, and I'll never forget talking to him on the phone and just the way he spoke and the things he said. I was like, man, I can't wait to meet this guy. This dude sounds like number one, is a gigantic man. And number two, just sounds like he's got it going on. And when I first met Coach Trickett, I was like, this is the guy I was talking to. Because if you don't know Coach Trickett's a short little guy. He's a short guy, but let me tell you something. That dude cares about nothing but football and getting the best out of the guys. And when I first got to school, it was a different relationship than the relationship we had built during the recruiting process. And I struggled, I really did. My first year, it was a little bit of a culture shock. Number one, I was 11 hours from home. Number two, you go from playing football in Hanover County, the next thing you know, you're going to play with the real dogs down from Florida. I struggled, but Coach Trickett, he always pushed me. And there was one thing that he always said to me too, and he was like, man, you can't coach toughness. And that was one thing that he appreciated about me, was that it didn't matter really what happened. I was going to push through it, and I was going to try to do the best I could for the guys around it. And so college football, after talking to a lot of coaches now, and my buddies that coach in college now, it's a lot different than how it used to be. It's even like when I was there, because back then when I was playing, if you wanted to transfer out, you had to sit out for a year before you could play. Nowadays, you got to be careful how hard you push guys and the things that happen, because dudes can just get up and go. They can go to the next school. And, Coach Trickett's style was And he was gonna get on you and tear you down, but the whole process was he's going to try to get you broken down to build you back up. He did not believe in yelling and in cussing at games during practice. Different case. He was going to get it out of you. I mean, you can ask any guy that played O-line for Coach Trickett. Our practices were 10 times harder than the games and 10 times harder than the guys around us practices. But there was a reason for that. And I never really picked up on – I finally picked up on it. I think it was my second year as a starter. We played – I want to say that year. We were playing Ole Miss. And I missed a good bit of camp because I had some injuries. But I still did everything I could, and I still listened to everything Coach Trickett said. So I came in, and it made sense because I was like, this is what he was training us for. He was training for us to get thrown in the fire and be able to shut everything out and dig it up and win. We were down by 21 points going into halftime, and we turned – it was either 21 or 27. I got that football brain, so I forget some things. But all the dudes on that O-line dug deep, turned around, and we pulled it out, and we won. We came back against Ole Miss, and we won, and it ended up being, top 3 team in the country at that point after we won. But that's when it made sense. I was like, this is why he's doing this. This is why he is the way he is. It's not because he doesn't like us. It's not because he wants to be mean to us. It was because he was trying to make it to where no matter what, he could turn around and have faith in us to get our jobs done out in the field. Nothing was going to distract us. The crowd wasn't going to distract us. Nothing.
We got a question from Jim Tim. He wants to know, what was the most challenging defensive lineman that you've ever encountered while playing? Jim Tim is one of our most loyal fans. Okay. He is a member of Total Pole Nation. He's from Rochester, New York. I got my great friend on here, Gary Lunsford, watching. Coach Taylor's that kind of man, truly cares about his players and coaches. No one gives more, lives, eats, true leader. I learned from Gary. But Jim Tim's got a question. He wants to know, who is the most challenging defensive lineman you ever had to go against?
Well, I could take this a couple different ways, but the simple answer is, if you research the team that we played that I was on my first couple years, the defensive line that we had was the most insane defensive line I've ever been around in my entire life. The guy that I practiced against every day for 3 years his name is Derek Noddy. He's a nose guard. He's from Virginia Beach. He's a local guy. Came in with my class, and he still plays for the Kansas City Chiefs right now. Won 2 Super Bowls. I have never been around someone that is as strong and as fast as that guy is. And he's not a real tall dude, but he was about 6'1", 6'2", long arms, benching around 500, squatting around 800, and he could move. And Florida State loves to run the Okie front, which means I was one-on-one with Derek in practice all day long. But if you jump around, it's the same thing. I played against that defensive line from Clemson where they had Cleveland Farrell, Christian Wilkins, Dexter Lawrence, and Austin Bryant. 4 guys that went with 3 of the 4 went in the first round. The other one went in the second round. So you go against a defensive line like that, there is no breaks. It is constant.
So playing for Jimbo Fisher, talk a little bit about that. Because I've been a fan.
Hold on 1 second. The Astros game is on and it's turned up super loud. Let me turn it down real quick.
Yeah. I did a 5-hour podcast with Bob Wiley.
I saw that.
We broke the record. We broke the all-time record, and he was listening to it on YouTube, but he was videoing through StreamYard. So we were like 5-second delay. So I had 5 hours where I was hearing an echo. So I didn't know if it was echoing again. But Jimbo Fisher.
Watch that. Yeah, but okay, go ahead, Coach.
Jimbo's from West Virginia, just like Coach Trickett's from West Virginia. Just talk a little bit about Coach Jimbo Fisher, being your coach.
So I was a big Jimbo Fisher advocate. Coach Fisher took a shot on me when Florida State first offered me. At the time I only had University of Maryland, UConn, Temple, ODU, Duke, and no major schools.
But not Virginia Tech.
Not Virginia Tech. Nope. my man, Coach Reed, when he got let go from UVA, that ship sailed for me. Coach Reed was the first guy to ever recruit me, and it was after that I wasn't really interested. But Coach Fisher and Coach Trickett, but they both took a shot on me as a not so recruited guy. And Coach Fisher he was like Trickett where he pushed me, but he also we had a good relationship. He was there for me, when I got hurt and had my hip surgeries and all that. He still took care of me and still kept me in the loop with everything. And when a guy gets hurt like that, I had double hip surgery, and when a guy gets hurt like that, it's very easy for coaches to rule him out. They're not coming back next season. We're over it. We're done with that. But that's not what they did. They still had faith in me. They still took care of me. And the other thing about Coach Fisher is Coach Fisher was always a player's coach. Granted, guys did stuff wrong all the time, but they would still have our backs and help us find a way to get better. Or if a guy is struggling in school, he wasn't just gonna throw him to the curb. He was gonna find a way to help that dude recover and be able to play and get back on track. That's why I always say this to anybody I talk to. The rumors about Coach Fisher not talking to us before he left for Texas A&M and just up and going, that's not true. That's not how it went down at all. It actually got leaked out of the front office of the school that he was leaving before he could tell us. And that man came in front of 125 kids with full tears in his eyes, crying as he felt terrible that we didn't get to hear from him first. And me and Coach Fisher talked for about an hour on the phone while he was on his way to Texas, getting ready to fly out. He was just giving me advice on what he thought I should do going forward, because he knew I tore my hip again and I was going to have to come back for another surgery. And even when he wasn't at Florida State, he still fought for me and tried to help me get picked up to the NFL after my 5th year. So I'll forever have respect for him. And not only did he do that, a bunch of my teammates that played with me at Florida State that needed jobs, wanted to get into college coaching, he gave them all opportunities at Texas A&M to come with him.
Wow.
And learn how to be a college coach. I still have friends that I played with that are on staff with them.
Wow, that's awesome.
Yeah.
I never say anything bad about Jimbo Fisher because I know he's a football coach, and I love football coaches, and I love football.
No, I'm with
him. Having you on here, man. So, I got the chance to coach against you. I think we scrimmaged y'all when I was at Meadowbrook, and then y'all beat us in the playoffs. Do you remember anything about that? I know there were some pictures taken of me and my brother and Coach Bland. We were on the field, and the Atlee fans. Yeah,
I remember.
Coaches are banned. We're banned from Hanover County. We're never allowed to go to Hanover County ever again.
I may or may not have gotten in a fight in that scrimmage with your defensive end.
Hey, I didn't see it.
There was one thing that I knew, and when we scrimmaged against y'all, I was like, this team is – well, I'll tell you what. After our scrimmages, we thought we were supposed to be the baddest of the bad around town. After our 2 scrimmages, we struggled against y'all, and we struggled against Manchester, and I was like, damn, dude, we got to get something figured out.
They're pretty good.
Yeah, y'all had a solid team, and then we turned it on when the real game started coming. It started clicking better for us. But I was looking forward to playing against y'all in the playoffs. Just because I knew y'all had some really good defensive linemen, and it was fun. It was always fun to go against teams that had energy and they were going to compete. And I don't know if it was you, but it was a couple of your coaches. They were getting fired up on the sidelines during the game, and I'll never forget
it was me.
The air guitar on the sidelines. And I was like, playing the air guitar. And my buddy Tanner Ramey, he got a sack, and he turned at y'all's sideline to the coaches and started playing the air guitar and like mimicking. I was like, oh man.
And what did we do back? We probably did it back to him. Probably told him good job.
I'll tell you what though, because our team, we had a reputation. We were some Hanover County guys, but we had some dudes with some attitude.
Y'all were good.
It was fun. Football was a fun year all around, and all of Richmond. That whole year was just teams, man. If you think back to the guys that were playing, even the guys that weren't seniors, the guys that were younger, the juniors and sophomores, that 3 years, the amount of dudes from Virginia alone that are playing or play Division I football or play college football or made it to the league, I mean, it's impressive.
Dude, it all runs together for me. The only thing I know is I know you got a 6 a.m. workout tomorrow. And I mean,
I know.
I can't even remember yesterday, dude. I just know I
Coach
sat
Shane,
on.
I told that to Coach Shane. I was like, hey man, we got to start getting here in the mornings. Your weight room's too small to be doing JV and varsity all together at one time. And I was like, it's going to help us. And now he's like, yeah, you're right. This is good because we can split them up. But it was a grind getting those dudes out there at first in the morning just because they're not used to it. But hey, I'm a big fan of Coach Shane, man. He's all in for the kids. That's one of the reasons why I wanted to go over there is I felt like he needed another guy to come and really buy in with him and try to help the culture grow over there. And because I think they have potential to be really special. I mean, our whole team is our workouts consist of mainly 8th grade, rising 9th graders, and rising sophomores. I think we have 3 or 4 seniors, and that's it. So I mean, we got the chance over there to do something special in the next couple of years.
So recruiting wise, I talk a lot about recruiting in this podcast, but like the 3 things that we focus on in our program is 1, we want to help change lives. 2, we want to help get guys to the next level, whatever that means, Marines or college or trade school or apprentice school. And then we want to help build champions for life. So that's the 3 things we do in this podcast, 3 things we do with our football program. But for the parents and the kids out there, like, what advice could you give them? What do they need to focus on?
Yeah. So I don't know how much you know about Hog Academy, but me and Nick are doing, but we're trying to work with as many linemen as possible in the whole Richmond area. And we've luckily been blessed to have worked with, at this point, I think now we have 16 kids that are playing Division I offensive line. And that they're all from Richmond to Fredericksburg and up to Madison County. And throughout that process, I knew a lot of coaches already from my recruiting and from playing, but I've gotten to meet so many more coaches and learn so much about the recruiting process because nowadays it's not like when I was getting recruited. When I was getting recruited, I went to high school camps, I went to college camps, schools came to my school, and I got their business cards. And then by the end of summer, I'd have a stack of business cards. I was a sophomore, I had a stack of business cards. And my mom would make me sit on my front porch and call 3 coaches a night. And I was terrified to do it. I don't know why, but I didn't understand.
You're a kid.
It's their job. That's what they're there for. Well, nowadays we got this social media stuff going on, and the Twitter. I wasn't a huge social media guy, but now I'm seeing I'm having schools ask me well, what's his Twitter? We want to see his Twitter. We want to see what he's put. We want to see all of this because now it's giving these coaches an opportunity to see so many kids at one time because, life now is all you need is this phone. You can do just about anything with the phone. But to circle back, first things first, when it comes to recruiting, the number one thing I say to anybody, and this goes back to social media too. I don't know if you remember this whole trend of D1 Bound, that little brand where it was D1 Bound, all the hats and all that. The fact is, not everyone is made to play Division I football, Division I Power 5 football. And at the end of the day, it's not all about that. What it's about is it's about having somewhere to go after high school to play. The opportunity to play, whether it's NAIA, Division III, Division II, trade school ball, Division I, Power 5, or American it doesn't matter. Just having a chance to play at the next level is a blessing. I mean, some of my best friends, actually, for the most part, all of my best friends played at Hampton City, besides Nick. And they all played at Hampton City or Randolph-Macon. And you know what? Sometimes I think they have more fun than I did. And they all loved their schools they went to. And so the main thing I do first is make sure kids understand, dude, it's not all about that. It's about what's finding the right spot for you. Because there ain't no sense in little Johnny, who's 5'10", wants to play defensive tackle at Virginia Tech. Yeah, they might let you go up there if you weigh 290 pounds to be on the be a walk-on and be on the scout team, but you're not going to get to play. If that's okay with you, go do it. But you're going to be a punching bag. Why not go to Randolph-Macon, get to play, enjoy your time in college, compete for a championship because they are killing it right now. So that's the first thing I get with on the kids. The number 2 thing is, like I said, the Twitter. If you're going to use social media for your recruiting. Number one, on Twitter, make your name your name. I don't want to see Grim Reaper 54. I want to see Alec Eberle 54. First thing goes to your bio, high school, phone number, coach's name, coach's number, NCAA ID number, position, all that. Then have the link to your film, right? Because this is what they're looking for. And then these 2.5 minute long highlights, I don't give a shit if you're an All-American tackle. You don't have 2.5 minutes of perfect play highlights. You don't. You put together a 30 to 45 second highlight reel, because what they're going to do is they're going to click that highlight. You got 10 seconds to get their attention. If that 10 seconds doesn't happen, there's 50,000 other kids that are going to look at it. Because if they like that first 10 seconds, they'll watch that whole thing, and then they'll watch your game film, because game film doesn't lie. That's where the kids get confused. They think that it's just off of the highlights. No. The highlight is what gets you noticed. Then they watch the game film, because – the eye in the sky don't lie, and the proof is in the pudding. Because they put that film on, first quarter you look good, third quarter you don't because you're tired, they know you're overweight. Now you got a knock on you. So those are the little things I'm trying to teach kids. On top of, you can't rely on someone else to do it for you. Like I said, my mama used to make me sit on my front porch and call coaches every night, because you are your own biggest advocate. You have to market yourself. I got one kid right now who – he's a really good player. He's going to be a center in college. I think he has 9 offers now. And 2 months ago, he had 1, right? But he has done such a good job of marketing himself and just constantly just reaching out to schools, whether they follow him or not, or whether they respond or not. He is just blowing up schools, trying to get them to see him. And now he's got 9 offers. So clearly it works. It's kind of like, and I hate to say this because I know it frustrates people, but some of these camps that the guys can go to, and you bring in the stars side of things. Oh, these guys, stars don't matter. Stars don't matter. I've never seen a 4-star that didn't have 30 offers. So clearly there is something resonates with that. If you looked at the NFL draft, besides 2 players, everybody was a 3-star or above. Not saying that will dictate if you play in college or not, but these little things that we used to overlook, now people are getting noticed by it, because on Twitter and on Instagram, if you have a rep and I'm unranked kid from Atlee High School and I go against a 5-star defensive end and I kick his ass in a one-on-one, and a school in your area saw that gets their attention. And it happened to me. I was at the Highland Springs camp. I had a couple small offers, right? And then I went against the number 1 defensive end in the country at the Rivals camp, and I beat him. And when I say I beat him, I mean I punched him in his chest and he fell. That week alone, I got, not saying Florida State wasn't going to offer me already because I already visited them, but Florida State offered me, Auburn offered me, UNC offered me, all, because the thing that kids don't understand is there might not be a college coach there watching you at practice. There might not be a college coach watching you at the volunteer camp that some guy is just throwing, and you just want to go just to compete. But there's guys like me and you, and there's guys like other coaches in the area that if they notice you and they make a phone call to someone they know that coaches at Division I school, that phone call they make to that school can make a big change for you. And that's what happened for me. Is there was a guy in the crowd that has some connections, and as soon as I proved that I could do it, it changed my life. I got all kinds of opportunities. That's where it comes into play. Is like, you never know who's watching you. Pick the cup up. They saw the video of Dak Prescott. He picked that cup up because it fell next to the trash can on the sideline. He never thought someone was recording him, but he went over, picked the cup up, and put it in the trash can. You never know who's out there looking at you. On top of that, I mean, it's all about competing, right? If you know that you can go out there and compete against these top guys in the area that have all these offers and you don't have anything, number 1, it gives you a confidence boost. But number 2, it shows that you can do this. And you need to keep marketing yourself, and it preps you for these college one-day camps. If I'm a high schooler, I am picking, and this comes down like the serious recruiting advice. Setting up a Twitter and recruiting profile is number 1. Do that, all right? Really picking good plays. Coaches don't want to see you grabbing a guy and slinging them down to the side. That's not a pancake block. You don't have 100 pancake blocks in your season. I'm sorry. It's just, unless you're Tyron Smith playing against a bunch of young kids, you're not going to have 100 pancakes, right? They want to see you have fast hips off the ball, snapping a little bit, have good feet, use your hands, getting downfield blocking. If you're going to have a pancake, it better be from you driving that dude 5 yards back and running him over, not slinging him to the side playing lazy ball. So it comes down to picking good film, right, that shows what you can do. It shows that you can move, shows that you can bend. It's not about the perfect block. It's about showing what your body's able to do, because coaches want to develop you when they get there. And then when you get that going and you start getting traction from colleges, be realistic about the schools that are, because you'll get spam mail. When I say spam, not like it's fake, but they're sending it to 1,000 kids, right? But then you'll get actual letters, or you'll get coaches that are actually reaching out to you. If you're picking camps to go to in hoping you get an offer, pick the camps where the coaches are actively talking to you, coming to see you, and have built a relationship with you. If you're a rising senior and you have a couple small offers, don't go to Alabama for the camp. Go to the camps or the schools around here that are very interested in you, and go prove to them they need to give you a scholarship. Hey, coach, man, I live 10 minutes from the University of Richmond. I want to come to your camp. I got a couple small offers. I want to prove to you I can play for you. Go do that. It's all about realistic goals and setting yourself up for success, because I see so many kids that, whether, I don't know if it's parents, I don't know what it is, but they get so caught up and, oh, if I don't go to here, I don't do this, I don't do that, I didn't make it. That's not the truth. The truth is hopefully getting some money to take you to be able to get a college degree and not have to pay full price for it. That's what it comes down to, is another opportunity to go play football and get an education out of it. I'm so happy I got my college degree. I know so many guys that did not finish playing or did not finish school because they left early and didn't go back to get their degree. But now I have it, and I have football to thank for that.
Yeah, and Coach Wiley, in his 5 hours yesterday, he talked about the growth mindset, having a growth mindset opposed to a fixed mindset. And a kid who says, well, if I don't get offered by here, I'm not going to play college ball. That's a fixed mindset. Exactly. But somebody that says, I'm going to get better and I'm going to keep working. I mean, Aaron Rodgers didn't have any offers coming out of high school.
Yeah.
I mean, come on, man. This ain't an exact science. I mean, there was a guy that had 0 stars, I think, a corner that went 5th overall from Pensacola, Florida. So, like, sometimes people grow. Sometimes people get stronger. Not everybody's Derek Notty's.
I'll tell you, Coach, I got a little fired up with the coach a couple days ago, talking to him about one of my guys, because look, defensive linemen not 9 times out of 10, but very frequently are very well developed in high school. Those are the freaks. Those are the dudes that they're ready to go. Same thing with defensive backs, and same thing with receivers. Offensive linemen have to develop.
Yes.
I got a younger kid, right? Big boy, tall. I mean, he is big, 6'5", over 300 pounds, whatever. And I had a school tell me, well, I just don't think he's Power 5 material. I said, he's 15 years old. Why don't you look at his size and look at how fast his feet move? They're like, yeah, but I just don't know. I said, well, you know what? I was 6'2", 220 pounds as a sophomore, starting on varsity. What if Florida State, or what if all these schools that recruited me just ruled me out off my sophomore year film? What would have happened to me? Because between my sophomore year and my junior year, I gained 35 pounds, grew 2 inches. And then I rocked it all up going to my junior year. I said, offensive line is so different than any other position. It's you have to develop. Men aren't at their peak physical performance level until they're between the ages of 26 and 35. That is when a man is at his peak physical performance level. That's why you look at all these top power lifters and world record holders and lifting and all that. Strong dudes, they're all over 30 years old, because that's when they're at their peak performance level, peak testosterone levels, all of that. You don't stop growing until you're 26 anyway. So you can't just look at a kid and say, oh, he's just a little slow hipped right now, and rule him out. No, you look at him and say, okay, in 2 years, where could this kid be? You know, and so that's what when I talk to schools, that's kind of one of the things I look at. I'm like, look, you know, this kid is this big, he wears this size shoe, he works hard, he's got these attributes. Think about that before you eval him, and then tell him what your realistic opinion on him is. Now, I get it. If a dude is a junior or is a senior, you know, and he hasn't clicked yet, all right, maybe he's not made for Alabama, but maybe he's made to go to, you know, William & Mary or something like that. And that's the stuff I work with the kids on too, picking realistic goals.
So if let's say I was the coach and I told you, I said, I just don't think, the guy's got the hips and he's a sophomore. Would it have been better if I would have said, hey, Alec, like right now, the sophomores that we're offering, they got to be like finished products. Like the head coach ain't going to sign off unless the dude is ready to go right now. Like we'll come back in a year and these are things he can work on. Like we need to see him lose some more weight. We need to see his hips.
That's the type of feedback I live for. I'm like, don't that's how I am. I don't want to hear he can't do it. I just want an honest evaluation. I want to know what you think about him, what he should work on. And this guy I was talking to isn't even at a big level school. That's kind of why I was like, hold on, dude. Like you're not at the top school. Like don't just rule him out. Like I want an honest opinion, eval him.
Yeah.
Because I talked to big schools that didn't evaluation for me because they're my friends, right? I know them personally, and they literally said, hey, if he works on this, this, and this, he can do this. So make sure you get him on track because he will be at that level if he fixes these things. So, really, it also comes down to who you're talking to also because so many coaches have different philosophies. And one thing that kids have to take in consideration, I don't have to, but it's something to think about, is these college guys, these coaches, they not live, basically, how are the players they bring in, the result of those players dictates whether or not they have a job. So they have to be careful about taking risks, and it's risk and reward, right? So I do understand to an extent, like they can't just take an all-out shot on somebody anymore because if I have two bad offensive line classes, if I'm coaching college ball and my O-line is struggling, well, I don't have a job to feed my family, come next year. So that's one thing kids have to take in consideration, like, you're not going to get every coach's attention because if they don't believe in you, which also at the same point, you don't want to go play for someone that doesn't believe in you. It's kind of like with kids that I have that have offers already, schools that rule them out completely. I'm like, okay, so you're picking up offers now. Some of these schools that ruled you out completely 6 months ago are probably going to try to jump back in the loop. Keep that in the back of your mind before you try to go commit to them because that means they're coming at you late, which means they didn't believe in you at first. And loyalty to me is huge. That's kind of like, I committed to Florida State March of my junior year. And I wrote it all the way out, almost a full year. Didn't ever decommit, didn't even think about it. Virginia Tech actually offered me the day before signing day and tried to get me to flip. My dad was not having that shit. I'll tell you that right now. He said, absolutely not. He has been with Florida State the whole time. And that's because Coach Trickett and Coach Fisher took a shot on me and believed in the player I could develop. I had to, really work hard to be ready when I got there because everybody knew I wanted to be a defensive end. I didn't want to play O-line. So I fought the whole weight thing for a while. But, before I left and before I signed, I got to the size they wanted me to be that we discussed. And I rocked it out with them. We had a good time. So it's kind of back and forth, and I really do feel for the kids now for the recruiting process. And that's what I wanted to touch on was it used to be you could wait till your junior year to really hit the recruiting hard. The days of that, if you want to play at a top level school, the days of waiting is done. You need to start trying to get on the map as a freshman and sophomore. And I'm saying that because I had a college coach literally tell me he was there, he was in town to recruit freshmen and sophomores or see freshmen and sophomores, just get eyes.
Oh, yeah.
Because, with the transfer portal being the way it is, schools are taking half the amount of guys from high school, especially O-line, because like I talked about, O-line is the developmental position. So they know they got to win next year and they got two guys that are hurt. They're trying to get a transfer guy they know can come right in and play because he's already developed. He's got the build. He's got the knowledge to step in and learn the playbook. So these kids that want to play at a high level, you can't wait. And I talked to high school coaches about this too because I'm trying to explain it because not everybody has the resources that me and you have, right? Like we can call coaches all around and learn from them and see what they're thinking. So I'm trying to, and like when I talked about when we first got on, I'm trying to help as many kids in the area as possible. So I'm trying to get this message to as many coaches as possible. Is, if you've got guys that you think can be that dude that can play at a high level, don't wait to let coaches come see them. Don't wait to, put their name out there a little bit. Try to help them out as early as possible, because the amount of scholarships that high school kids are getting is lowering because of the transfer portal, which is a whole nother, thing for me. But I mean, sophomores.
What would you say to the high school coaches? Like, you got 10 guys that's going to be seniors that's got film. You got 10 guys who are juniors who's got film. Then you might have about 5 guys who are sophomores. You may have 1 or 2 freshmen that actually have film. Because I'm not big on recommending guys that don't have film, because what does the coach have to go back and show? So
no, I agree. So the way I do
film, what would you say to the high school coaches? What's the best way to attack that?
If they don't have film, or they do?
If they do, I'm not about recommending people that ain't got film. Because what are you recommending?
I'm not putting my name on somebody that I know can't do it. I'll tell you that right now. Now, what I do think, for example, for the guys that don't have film, I would just say, hey,
go to camps.
Whatever. Go to camps, get your name out there. Let schools come into workouts. Let them see you work out. Guys that have legitimate film, I'm telling my kids, hey, you need to put together, let's talk about Twitter, put together a recruiting profile. Don't even call it Twitter. Call it your recruiting profile, because I don't think you should use it for anything else besides that. Put together your stats, your name, your contact information, your highlights, and then have the link to your full film. And you guys need to be taking a little bit of time. I tweeted it a couple of days ago. If I was a high schooler, I would be on my phone for like 30 minutes to an hour every night, reposting my film and tagging you can go online and you can sit there and just follow coaches. See who follows you back. Tag all of them. Just tag them. So they see that film. It pops up on their feed. Because after you tag someone about 10 times, he's probably going to click on it just to watch it for a second to see what happens.
Yeah, then he's going to unfollow you. And if they don't get back with you, then that's your answer. Exactly. It's like you're calling a girl and you're calling her. Well, I wonder why she's not calling me back. Let me call her again. Let me text her again. That's your answer.
Exactly. It's not that hard. It really doesn't take that much time. Some guys, so I'm a firm believer as a coach and as a trainer. Major part of my job is to develop you as a man, develop you as a player, right? But another part of my job is I'm going to reach out to as many people as possible to get you seen if I believe in you. I'm not going to do it for the guys I don't think are ready. But if I believe in you, I'm going to do it. So as a coach, I feel like that's part of our responsibility, is to take care of our dudes to help them get to the next level. So if the kid has film and if he's ready mentally, then, reach out. It's like I said, too, it's easier for some of us to do it if you already have a relationship with coaches. And especially with offensive line, the O-line world is a very tight-knit world. If one O-line coach comes to see your guy and he likes him, odds are a whole lot more other O-line coaches are going to come see him, because they all talk. They don't really hide.
Hey.
There you go.
That?
That's a good one.
Coach McNally said that I'm the only non-NFL coach ever to be an official member of the Mushroom Society.
That's pretty badass.
Yeah.
Funny story about Coach McNally. I doubt he remembers it. But
I'm sure he does.
He coached me in 3 different camps.
At FBU?
Yeah.
Yeah. That's his
awesome.
bag. You know what he told me? Take a black Sharpie, a black marker, and black my name out. And I said, Coach, what good does that do if Jim McNally's name is blacked out? He goes, well, if you take it on an airplane, they won't think it's yours. And I said, Coach, I'm not blacking your name out, man.
That's a collectible. That's a collectible.
Yeah, so tell me, because I'll let Coach McNally know.
Well, I messaged him after I saw him on Twitter, and I said, hey, Coach, I doubt you remember me, but I just want to say thank you, because you had an impact on me growing up. He was the first guy to put me, because like I said, I wanted to be a defensive lineman. When I was in 8th grade, I went to the first one with him, and he moved me to tackle. And he said, I know you don't want to play this, but this is what you need to be. And I was like, okay. And I sat and I worked, and I went to a couple more FBU camps with him, just to work with him. And, that's another thing I'd like to touch on with the camps is, yes, there is a lot of camps out there that are not going to benefit recruiting. But if a kid is if their family is able to pay for a camp and the kid wants to go and compete, let the kid go and compete. Don't jump a kid's ass because he wants to go to some camp. I mean, would you rather the kid be at a camp competing and getting better at his craft, or would you rather him be at home playing video games doing nothing? Would you rather be running around in the streets doing nothing good, right? So I mean, I tell my kids all the time, be careful with the camps you go to for what you think you're getting out of it, right? There is certain camps that you go to and it makes a difference. I can tell you right now, I work the Under Armour camps, the UC Report camps, that are with Rivals and all that. Mm-hmm. It's the top players in the country at these camps. And when I tell you that it makes a difference for some of these dudes, it does, because I've had coaches, I'll leave a camp, and I've had college coaches call me immediately after, like, how is this kid? Should we offer him? Was he legit against his competition? And I say yay or nay. And I've looked at Twitter, and about 10 minutes later, a couple of these kids were having offers from the schools I've been talking to. So when it comes to recruiting camps, because I know that term is thrown around a lot. When it comes to recruiting camps for guys, be careful what you pick. If you don't see companies like Rivals or On3 or UC Report definitely going to be there, it's not a recruiting camp. It's a guy having you come pay $150 to $200 to come just do combine drills
for a golden ticket.
For a golden ticket for some.
To go to the next camp for $150. The next one's $250.
Or some bullshit elite 100 or some, you know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
Be careful with what you pick. I try to approve all the camps that my kids go to. I tell, before you pay for something, come talk to me about it. I'll let you know. I'll let you know what I think about it. There is a very good camp coming to Richmond May 10th. I don't know if you've seen that yet. It's at Huguenot. It's a satellite camp, and there's about 12 Division I AA and D2 schools going to be there. And it's like $50, $40, $50. If I'm a high schooler and I want to play football in college, I'm in the Richmond area, I'm going to that camp. I'll be there too, just hanging out.
Yeah.
I'll send you the flyer. I don't know if you have that flyer, but I'll send you the
flyer. I believe it's is it UNC Pembroke?
UNC Pembroke's going to be there. William & Mary's going to be there. I don't know who the official host is, but so the list is Samford's going to be there, William & Mary, Maine, Alcorn, Towson, Hampton, and then I don't know the other logos. I don't know.
I'm texting Coach McNally right now. I said Alec Eberle is on podcast. You helped him at the FBU camp. He went to Florida's FSU and played for Trickett. Here's one thing I'm going to tell you about Coach Trickett that I didn't know. First of all, I didn't know that he knows my family from Masontown.
I was watching when that
was crazy, man. Like but I didn't know that Coach Trickett was already the offensive line coach at Auburn, like in 1995. I thought he was always like a Rich Rod guy. I mean, this dude was already SEC offensive line coach way before he even got hooked up with Rich Rod.
Yeah, well, I'll tell you what else is crazy is when you look at the West Virginia coaching tree on how many guys are from West Virginia. Because you got Jimbo, you got Trickett, Saban, Gus Malzahn, I'm pretty sure, is from West Virginia as well. And then half of our assistants were from somewhere in West Virginia. So it's kind of like there that time period, all the top coaches in college football were all from the state of West Virginia.
Yeah, Bobby Bowden.
I
don't know if Bobby Bowden might be from Sanford, but he coached at WVU.
Yeah, that was. Have you watched the Bowden documentary yet? The Bowden Dynasty?
No. Where's it at? Where do I watch it?
It was on Netflix for a minute. I don't know where it is now, but if you search the Bowden Dynasty on Google, I'm sure one of these new TV.
All right, I'll watch it.
That's a good one.
Grades. What do you tell these kids about grades? Because I mean, there's some kids they want to take honors classes, but the Davidson head coach told me that if you have more than 2 C's on your transcript, they cannot recruit you. So talk about grades.
So, first of all, Davidson is a really hard school to get into when it comes to academics. But my background for grades, right? I had a 3.8 in high school. I wanted to make sure I had that taken care of. In college, I was an academic warrior at a 3.5 or above. You know, I got to dictate my tutoring hours. I wasn't like the other guys that had to have 10 hours tutoring a week. I didn't need to do that because I had kept my grades up. So I tell my guys all the time, the better you can keep your grades, the better off you're going to be because it's going to give you more wiggle room to do what you want to do. Now, The most important thing is, what is the point of waking up at 5:30 or 5:15 in the morning to go work out for 2 hours, then go to school all day and bullshit around at school, and then go work out more after school, and then spend your weekends traveling around, going to camps, trying to get recruited when the coach pulls your transcript and you got a 2.5 GPA? Don't give me that bullshit. You got a 3.6 GPA because of gym class and shop class. That shit does not matter. It's your core GPA. Because I have watched so many guys in high school that I played with that were some of the best football players I have ever seen. They didn't play in college. Why didn't they play in college? Because they failing out of high school. There's no sense in doing any of the extra work. There's no sense even reaching out to colleges if your grades are not where they're supposed to be. Because if you have a 2.7 GPA, just to get in school, you're going to have to get over 1,000 on your SAT, two-part. The higher your GPA is, the lower you got to get on the SAT. That's what guys don't understand. That's how you get into the actual school. But also, why would he, put his name on you and put trust in you if you can't even get mainly Bs? Or get all Bs. That's fine.
Yeah,
get all
3.0.
3.0. Like, why? It's not hard. It's nowadays, like I said, with this phone, if you need help, you can get help. I had a kid that he was failing a math class. I said, does your teacher know that you want to play college football? And he was like, I think so. I said, well, have you gone and had a talk with her and let her know, hey, teach, I really want to play college football. I really need to pass your class. Can you help me? Can you tutor me? Is there something I can do extra? Is there work I missed that I can fix? I'll sit in the front of the class. What can I do? And he was like, I don't know. She's not going to go for it. She's not going to go for it. I said, try it tomorrow, and you tell me when you come back to training what happens. Well, he did it. She gave him extra assignments to do. Now he's got to be in the class. She helped him get to where he needed to be. I was like, it's really not that hard. Don't overcomplicate things.
Yeah. So when the kids, like, you probably talk to 100, 200 college coaches as a recruit. Like, when the college coaches come into the school and start talking to the kid, what are the questions they're going to ask them? And what are some of the answers? Because I like to give kids answers to the questions already. I already know what you're going to say because they basically say the same thing over and over. Like this one, Alec. I'm sure you've had this done to you. Hey, Alec, how's it going?
Well, the first thing you want to do.
Yeah, but how's it going? How's it going, Alec?
Hold on, coach. My laptop's going to die. I get my charger.
This is what a lot of them do. But y'all that don't know, just watch me because I got this thing down pat. I've counted some coaches. They say it about 5 times.
Hold on. Hey, coach, how's it going? Coach is doing well.
How's it going?
It's going well, coach. How are you doing, sir?
Well, no, really, man. How's it going?
I know exactly what you're doing.
They say it about 5 times. Then I'm finally like, it's great. How's it going for you? And we just keep saying, how's it going, back and forth. Like, yeah, they keep saying it until the kid finally will say something like, oh, well, actually, I just got arrested, or I just got, how's it going? Like, they say it 5 times in a row. Is this true or is it not?
No, it's true. They try to get you. They're trying to figure something out. No, I know exactly what you're talking about. It's that, and then it's how's school going? And then they wait for they want to see if you're going to hesitate. And, if your grades aren't where they're supposed to be, you're going to hesitate, because that's one of the first things when it really gets down to talking is they ask, how's grades going? How's workouts going? The first thing a coach asks me personally, is how is he in the weight room? Does he come to workouts? Are they invested?
Yeah.
I mean, it's as simple.
You're not going if you don't work out with your team.
No.
You can work out with Nick Saban. You can work out with Bill Belichick, Steve Belichick, or Bill Jr. You better work out with your team.
You got it. So, and I'm someone that has a training company. I work on O-line stuff, strengthening, all that. But I tell my guys all the time, like, we can do all this stuff. We can do all this hog stuff, but you got to be there for your team. When we were at Atlee, we all of us worked out with a really big time strength coach. We did. We went 4 days a week to that. But it was, first of all, it was the whole team that went. But the guys that couldn't go went in the morning to Atlee. Do you know what all of us that also lifted in the afternoon did? We all woke up every day at 5 o'clock in the morning and went to workouts. We were still going to do more on our own after school.
That's
we
good.
were doing workouts. We were doing all the stuff with them. We did all the accessory work. We didn't do the main. We didn't bench heavy because we knew we were going to bench in the afternoon. But we did all of the other stuff, all the accessory work, all the conditioning work, all the core work. We still spotted our guys. And then when max out day came, we would come max out the team. And because that's how you build relationships. You can't. This whole I'm going to put it down for 4 months. I'll see y'all in summertime. That's bullshit. You can't just pick up and decide you're going to be a good teammate. I told my guys last week, or me and Shane's guys at Mechanicsville, I told them last week, I said, let me tell you something. You guys that have been here every single day, y'all are the dudes I want to ride or die with. Y'all are the ones that haven't complained. You've been at every single workout. We don't even have all of our top guys there. But I'm like, look, I can trust y'all. Y'all believe in the process. And personally, I play for Trickett, so I'm a football guy. I couldn't give a shit if you've got track practice in the afternoon. You want to come play football? Well, that's why I'm waking up early and hosting a morning group. You got track practice in the afternoon? You want to be a football player? Come to the morning workout. Make sure you eat during the day. Make sure you get your homework done after practice and go to sleep and get rest so you can work out twice in a day. You get your running in the afternoon and get your lift in the morning. There's no excuse not to be there. That's the same reason why Roscoe had our workouts in the morning at Atlee, because he didn't want to hear that excuse if I can't be there because I have sports. Well, we're here at 6 a.m. I've been getting up at 4:45, 5 o'clock in the morning every day since I was in 8th grade because that's when I started going to Atlee for workouts. And it's been my lifestyle ever since then. It keeps me disciplined, keeps me on track. I get a lot more done. Coach Trickett taught me the same thing in college. He used to make us get up early all the time. We had practice at 3 o'clock in the afternoon, and we were the only position group that 3 days a week we were at the stadium at 6 a.m. doing film review, doing up downs if we had to get punished, or doing technique work. Every single day over summer, we were up early doing player-led O-line practice because that's what he believes, the discipline part of it. You can't be a successful football team if there's not discipline. And that's what gets me pissed off about some of the stuff with the social media is that a lot of guys, man, they think this thing's just going to happen. They think, oh, I'm just going to get found. Let me tell you something. What's going to make you just get found? Why are you different from everybody, from the other? There's I think it's over 500,000 high school football players, right, in this country. Less than 2% of those guys play Division I. How are you making yourself stand out? That's what you got to figure out. You got to figure out what is going to make me different from the rest of the guys that are trying to get recruited at the same position as me. Because if you go to school, you got good grades. You're dedicated to the weight room. You're dedicated to your team. You're dedicated to your parents, everybody around you. That shows you have good character. That's how you separate yourself. You know, I mean, kids can rule themselves out at the end of the day. I mean, they can, if you're not handling all the stuff that you can control, then you're going to rule yourself out from the whole situation.
Yeah, I mean, there's no such thing as a perfect football player.
No.
I mean, number one pick, there's the knock on him. He's not big enough. He's too small. Number 2 pick, he got an 18 on a whatever test they give him.
Wonderlic test.
Yeah, the third pick was Williams. You know, he said he's not the best outside backer in the draft. You know, some other kid is. I don't even know. Was he the third? Yeah, he was the third. 4th, I can't remember who the 4th one was. I think he was offensive. That was a corner. The corner. Yeah. He had no offers. Pensacola. The 5th one was the kid from Ohio State. I think the offensive lineman. And I mean, I think he looks so young. Man, I'm getting old, man. Those guys look like babies.
Coach, I'm 27 years old and I'm already balding, man. That is
yeah. Well, so I'm balding too, man.
My
hairline used to be straight.
You got more than I got. Put it that way.
But you can shave your head. You'll look good with a bald head, man.
Well, you'll be all right. I'm staying tall enough to people can't see the top of my head.
Yeah, you're tall. You're way taller than me, man. I'm only about 5'10". So we talked about grades. We talked about social media. We talked about working out. Like, what else? Is there anything else that you want parents, players, high school coaches to know about the recruiting process or Hog Academy?
Well, one really big thing that I cannot harp on enough to people is, yes, you need to go to camps to get seen and to get recruited, but you need to plan out your camp schedule. All right. Like, yeah, go to a couple like camps you want to compete in, or hopefully rivals might be there, or you just want to go learn some techniques from this coach that's going to be at this camp. That's fine. But when it comes to picking college camps over summertime, these colleges, man, if you're a recruit, every school is going to ask you to come. You can't go to every camp.
Yeah.
You can't do it. You need to really try to pick 5 camps max. That's still, in my eyes, that's a lot. Because what happens is, so I don't know if you follow Westside Barbell. I don't know about
Louis Simmons.
Okay, so I'm a big time Louis Simmons guy, right? Big time. I'm a big weight room guy. There's this thing called maximal effort, right, in your central nervous system. All right, when you go test at these camps, you go do the 40-yard dash, you go do the 5-10-5, your broad jump, vertical jump. You are doing maximal effort work and taxing your central nervous system. Okay, that takes time to recover. All right, so if I go do that on Friday at University of Richmond, and then Saturday I go and I do it again at University of Virginia, and then Sunday I drive up to Virginia Tech, I do it at Virginia Tech and do it all over again. That's 3 days in a row I have maximally tested my CNS and my body. Okay, it takes 3 to 4 days to truly recover just a little bit from that. That's why these guys train for 2.5 months to go do the combine and go do the pro day, right? So now if you think about it like that, I've done maximal effort for all of this, right? Now I got to recover for these couple days before I feel good because I'm going to feel like shit when I go to the weight room. Now it's Wednesday or Thursday. I'm doing it again, right? 3 days in a row. And then it's the same thing. And it's a repetitive process. Well, what did you miss in that whole time period? Well, now you didn't work out 4 or 5 times a week that week because you had to recover because you were tired. You also missed workout time because you were traveling all the time. So now when you get done at the end of July or middle of July, you're weaker than you were and you're slower than you were all before you started the recruiting process. So now you got to get ready in 3 weeks for the season and you're behind.
If you didn't get hurt.
If you didn't get hurt.
Yeah, because, I mean, as soon as you run a good time, here's what they're going to say. Run it again.
Yeah.
And then they get someone else with the clock.
Yep.
And then you run a 4.4. And then they say, hey, is there any way you can run it again? Now they bring another guy he's got a better hand. Oh, and he runs a 4.4. Oh, can you run it again? They don't care how many times you run it. They don't care if you pull your hamstring.
They don't care about that. And
yeah, they just want to make sure they get the right time. Like, maybe I'm wrong.
At the end of the day, if you go to university or if you go to Virginia Tech and you do great at their camp and they offer you a scholarship because you ran a 4.4, you know who's probably going to offer you the next week? University of Virginia. Yeah, UVA, because they don't want to miss out on this guy that's going to go to Tech. That's why. So I try to tell all my kids, man, pick wisely on what you're going to go to, because that way you can recover and still get your training in and do what matters. Oh, this is what I was going to tell you earlier. I got the football brain and I forget. You want to know the easiest way to get recruited at the end of the day? Win. Because the teams that win typically have the most guys go play college football. Because when you're winning, your team's getting seen by everybody. Look at Highland Springs. Highland Springs has put the most guys Division I at any high school in the area. They've won, 5 state championships in the last 7 years? Something like that?
They won more than that, I think. I don't know.
They won a lot. They won a lot. Same thing for us when we were at Atlee. We had all those guys play Division I football. We were winning. We were winning 11 games a year. So it all comes back to the team. You have to be invested in your team. You have to go to workouts. You have to go to open field. You got to get your team on the same unit, because when the team eats, everybody eats. You're not going to get all conference. You're not going to get all state if your team sucks.
Yeah, MVPs don't go to – when they say who's the Heisman, well, who's the best player on the best team? Or who's the MVP? It's the best player on the best team.
Yeah.
Like who's the regional player of the year? Well, who had the best record? Okay, well, who was their best player on offense?
Biggest example for me, I was like honorable mention all district my junior year. Literally honorable mention. And I thought I was a pretty damn good player. Same thing with Ty Burris and Nick Clark. We were all like honorable mention. We won 5 games. Well, the next year, we won 11. I was all-state offense, all-state defense. Ty was all-state defense. Nick was all-state. Everybody. It's just like when you win and, you're seen, it's the best.
Yeah.
Now, all this shit matters. Going to camps matters. Marketing yourself on Twitter matters. Reaching out to coaches matter. But none of that shit matters at the end of the day if your team sucks and you can't even get the guys going around you because you're not invested in it. It's one big group effort, the whole thing.
I'm going to ask you one more thing, and then we're going to get off here because you got to get up early. What about transferring? I mean, with the transfer portal and, college football, and now you can transfer and go wherever you want. I mean, I would almost be leery if I was still coaching college, which we didn't even recruit high school guys. All we took was last chance you know, D1 fall offs, dropouts,
Yeah.
whoever. But I would be leery at taking kids who transferred 2 or 3 times in high school.
So is this whole thing with the transferring. It drives me nuts. First of all, I'm a firm believer in you're supposed to go to the school that you're supposed to go to, at least in high school. All right. If you're old, if you're young for your grade, you want to reclass, go to private school, get a better chance. Okay, I understand that. I do. If you're extremely young for your grade. All right. But if I'm a college coach, I don't want to recruit a kid that's transferred to 3 different high schools. I know that. I want to recruit a kid that's stuck with his team through it all. I had a chance to go to IMG when I was at Atlee. IMG asked me to come down there my junior year. I was like, no, man, I'm sticking around, right? And then you jump up to college. I think it is absolutely absurd how many kids are just transferring around. You got dudes playing for 3 different colleges in 3 years. I mean, whatever, coach, whatever happened to working for your spot? Whatever happened to grinding it out, sucking it up, and competing to play? That's what I'm so confused about. Now it's like, oh, this dude's better than me. I'm not even going to try to outplay him. If I'm an NFL scout, we're talking college level ball, right? If I'm an NFL scout and this dude is transferred 3 times, something ain't right. I mean, clearly the dude's either afraid of competition or he's not bonding well with the coaches because he's not doing what he's supposed to be doing. I mean, at the end of the day, if you pick somewhere to go, you need to stick it out there and play the whole way through and work for it. You know, if your coach leaves, if the guy's gone, the guy you came to play for, if he leaves, I understand that. You know, you didn't sign up to play for this coach that just came in. But if it's about competition, it doesn't make any sense. If you're a high school player and your school's not doing well because you don't got guys that are invested in your program, why don't you try to be a leader and try to make them better? Because nothing looks better. This is what I tell my guys at Mechanicsville, because they had a rough year last year. I think they won 2 games, right? I don't know. It wasn't great. Granted, they had some stuff happen. But I tell them all the time, nothing looks better to me as someone that talks to colleges or to college scouts than you guys sticking it out here, coming back next year and winning 8 games because you built culture around this. Or in 2 years from now, you guys win 10 games, 9 games. That looks good because you guys –
just like y'all did at Atlee.
We won exactly. We won 5 games. Next year we won 11. We could have we knew how good the young kids were. We could have left. But we believed in Coach Johnson. You know, it goes a long way, and it shows the character of people. You know, when you have what did Coach McPhee always used to say? Intestinal fortitude. It shows intestinal fortitude when you got guts. It shows guts when you can stick it out through the hard times to make it work out in the end, because he also used to always say tough times don't last, tough people do. That was his go-to, man. I love that guy.
He's my mentor. He's
one
of the first podcasts I did on Martin Luther King Day.
I commented on it. I was watching it.
Yeah,
it was
one of the first podcasts I did. I mean, if you would have told me then that I would be a member of the Cool Clinic or Mushroom Society, and I'd be texting the Miami offensive line coach and Coach McNally and Bob Wiley and Dick LeBeau, text me at 12:35 a.m.
I'm telling you, Coach, your stuff's starting to pop off, man. I've been impressed.
It's crazy, man. When I did that one with, but you know what, dude? That one with Coach McPhee was probably my favorite one. We probably got the most viewers. I mean, it was all kinds of people because he's a legend.
He took me to the Penn State camp back when I was a freshman, and I stayed on that Millionaires Row, whatever. That camp alone, he was the counselor for that floor of the dormitories. I think they had over 30 or 40 guys go Division I that were on that floor that he selected to be with him. I mean, the dude, he's done a lot for a lot of people. I mean, he did a lot. He did a whole lot for me.
I've known him since I was a kid.
Him and Coach Johnson, man. I got Coach Johnson's back till the day I die. That dude, he put it all on the line for me. He fought for me.
Yeah.
So
thank you, Alec. We'll have you back on here, man, probably before the season.
Whenever you want, Coach. It was fun.
Yeah, brother. So let everybody know how they can get a hold of you. I'll put your Twitter name down there and your website. Is all that right?
My personal Twitter is Alec Eberle 54, and then Hog Academy on Instagram is just Hog Academy LLC. You're better off just reaching out to me on Twitter though, Alec Eberle 54. we've got we're going to be in the South Side once a week till the end of summer, and then we're in Richmond twice a week, or in Mechanicsville, Hanover twice a week. Hit us up. Like I said, I'm literally here to just help out as many guys as possible. I want to get Richmond on the map even more than it already is for offensive line play and overall just football in general. To me, it's a community thing. It's more than just winning games at the end of the day. It's changing lives and helping kids get the opportunity to play at the next level.
Amen. I believe it too, man.
Yes, sir.
Thank you, brother.
No problem. I'll talk to you soon.
I see you. Thank you, Alec.